this is Trinisha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about always up to something. So, what made me want to talk about this is earlier today, like always, I'm listening to a sermon. I had to go into the office today, which is, I know, I probably would dress similar to this anyways, except for I wouldn't wear pearls. Usually on the days I wear pearls, I'm in the office. So, that's what the whole pearls thing is about. Or I went to church. And so, so I'm sitting there listening to the sermon, and the sermon is about, the time before Christmas, is talking about Mary is talking about, the whole story. And for people that don't know, it's about Mary being pregnant with Jesus, and an angel said that Jesus was going to be born of Mary, and there was no room in the inn. They go give she gives birth to this baby, and the preacher, he used the story to talk about how sometimes we don't even know our own story and it happened. And God can use any situation for his glory. And, so on and so forth. And he also went on to talk about how we never know what God is up to. And it made me think about, and in my soul, I felt like this is it. Like, I'll be listening to sermons or I'll be reading a book or something, and it's like all of a sudden I get this epiphany or I get a revelation or something like that, and all of a sudden I will feel inspired. I will start to think about certain things in my life. Like all of these thoughts start to rush into my mind. And when I hear or when I'm going through something, I can't make the video right away because as I heard this, I was driving. So I couldn't do anything about it. I could just hold on to it. And I just said, God, if this is you, if this is what you want me to talk about, then allow me to remember it. And so I did. I don't know if I'm going to remember anything else, but I remember that. And so I'm sitting there, and I started thinking about how the pastor was talking about how he said some people will compare their lives to someone else, or they'll think about how, oh, how did this person get a husband, or how did this person move into this position, or God did that for that person. And he said that that person barely does any of the things that you do, or they're only doing a portion of the things that you do in your life that God put on your heart for you to do. And he said sometimes people will look at it as jealousy. They'll look at it as insecurity. They'll look at it as like they are of lack, or why would this happen to this person? But he said what we need to be thinking is, if God did this for this person, can you imagine what he could do for me? And when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like that's the thing that people need to hear. That's what we need to think about when we think about these things. Like me personally, when I think about someone else winning, I think about how it's used as motivation or inspiration for me. When I see people get married, I don't know what their situation's like. I don't know what their marriage is like, but I just think, God, when you bring the person who is supposed to be grace for me in my life, then I hope that, we will respect and honor each other. I hope that, we will really be communicative, that, you know, I will feel comfortable expressing myself to this person and they will feel comfortable expressing themselves to me. I think about different things like that that really make me feel like, okay, this is an inspiration for what it could look like. Not saying that a picture is everything, because sometimes, like my past relationship, you will smile for a picture and be miserable. And some people think, oh, this person's smiling, they look so happy. This could be one moment in their miserable life. Like they could just be happy at this one place on this one vacation and getting this house, but you don't know what's happening inside the house. You don't know what the house is built on. The foundation could be rocky. They could have met each other in the worst way. They could be staying together just to save face. Like you don't know what's going on in people's personal lives, which is why me personally, I don't ever wish that I had someone else's relationship. When I see a woman with a guy, even if it's like one of my exes or something like that, I said it like that and I feel like I'm gonna be so judged for saying one of, but people do, you're living life in the past, okay? And it's more than one person. So, okay, that's it. And anyways, like when I see people that are with that person, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for them because I was in grace for that person, obviously. So I'm hoping that they're happy. That's what my hope is. That's what I see when I look back at stuff like that, or when something pops up on my page or whatever else. And it's not that I or I shouldn't say pop up on a page. I should say it pops up on someone else's page or somewhere else, because I have people usually that are on my social media sites that are people who inspire me, or people who I feel like, I don't want to say motivate me or don't discourage me, but anything that I allow in my circle or on my platforms or whatever else is usually something that doesn't make me feel some type of way. So if I'm friends with someone, it's usually because on a social media platform, it's usually because their content is geared towards something that I like, or something that I'm interested in. It's usually not just because they're out here wilding out. Like, I don't want to see any of that. I don't want to see anybody half, naked or anything. Like, I just want to be inspired. And I want to see people who are working hard. I want to see stuff like that. I don't want to cloud my mind with something that is either going to distract me from my purpose, or it's going to make me feel like it has to be like a comparison thing. Because, and I say this and I feel like people are going to judge me and be like, "Oh, well, why are you comparing yourself to someone else when you're on social media?" Because it's human nature. Because whenever you're doing something, even if you're happy for someone else, you're still comparing that to what you could inspire. You're still comparing that to what you might want in your life, regardless if it's negative or in a positive way. So that's what I mean by that. I don't mean compare like, "Oh, this person has this, I'll never have it." It's just like, "Oh, well, this person has it. This is what I aspire to have." But if someone has something like, just, I don't know if I should say this, but when I am on my social media sites, I'm on there specifically to be in my purpose. I'm on there to inspire people. I'm on there to uplift myself and others. And I'm on there to just for business purposes. That's it. I'm not on there to like see what anyone else is doing, because it can become a distraction. It can be like I can go down this long rabbit hole, and the next thing you know, 3 hours later, I'm still on whatever social media site it is. And I don't mean that I don't do that with YouTube, because for YouTube, it's mostly sermons or something that's inspirational, something that's building me into becoming a better person is what I'm watching. I'm not just worried about what other people are doing. I'm worried about what I can do that could inspire or motivate me. Like, whether it's financially or business wise or as an individual person, like something that I can do to grow my business, something that I can do to take better care of my skin, something that I can do for self care, me dates, whatever else it is the things that I'm looking at. I'm not looking at what Bob, John, and Jack are doing, or Sue, Ann, and Lucy are doing. I'm just focused on what Tranisha's doing. So what is it that I can do for myself that can make me into a better person? What is it that is speaking life into me? What is it that is going to add to my life instead of take away from it? I don't have enough energy to just put into something that's pulling from me. I need to have things surrounding me, people, place, things surrounding me that are adding to my life. And I don't mean they have to be giving me money. It could be time. It could be anything. But I have to be receiving something from it. I can't just have people there just as a placeholder. Like, that's not what I want to use people for at all. I don't want to use people, period. And if people are in my life, I want to make sure I'm giving back something that I would want to have. Like, if I have a friend, I want to make sure I'm giving them time just like they're giving me time. I want to make sure that I'm compassionate just like I want them to be compassionate. I want to make sure that I'm understanding just like I would want them to be understanding, because sometimes things happen and it's easy to jump to a conclusion and say, "Well, this person doesn't want to do this. This person could be going through something. This person could have other things that are happening in their life, and that's why this couldn't happen." Sometimes it's not even about you. Sometimes it's literally just their own personal thing. And whenever I think about life, I think about that. And so as I'm listening to the sermon today, and I'm hearing about how if God did this with someone who is only doing a portion of the things that God placed on you to do, imagine what God could do in your life. And it made me think how God is always up to something. Even when we're in our journey, even as we go through the storms, the trials, the tribulations, God is always up to something. He's planning something. He's using your weakness as something that makes someone else strong. He's using your trials and tribulations as something that can help build a business or transform your life, or or transform someone else's life. He's using everything that should have broken you to strengthen other people, to strengthen you and then strengthen other people. He's using everything. There is nothing that's wasted when God is in the midst. God is so funny because when I look at my life and I see the way today, I did this thing, and don't take this as like a humble brag or anything like that. I just feel like it's important to say where I am in life and like what's going on in my life because it really helps put things into perspective. But earlier today, before I go to work and everything, I go to this place and I'm looking out and I could literally see everything. Like I get to the top part of this thing and I'm looking out at everything. I'm looking out at the buildings and I'm looking out at, just these different cool like artifacts and things that are surrounding me. And the sun's about to come up and I'm just like, wow. Like I'm just like, wow. Like even back then when I thought I didn't deserve anything, I could have never imagined I would be in this place in my life. I could have never imagined that God would allow me to be here to do the things that I'm doing, to just be able to be blessed like this, you know? And when I looked out on all of these beautiful things, I could hear something inside of me saying, this is only the beginning. And it really made me think God is always up to something. Like we think, oh, this is all God has for us. Like this is it. There's nothing else. We are doing this thing. It's so amazing. Like what else could God possibly give us? Because everything he's already given us is more than we deserve. So I'm like, what else could he possibly do in my life? Because I have everything that I need. I'm at a lack of nothing. But God is not a God of lack anyways. He's a God of abundance. And it's funny because sometimes we'll get to a position like I was today and we'll just be like, we have everything we need. But then I also have to remember, and I hope that you remember, that you have not because you ask not. So if you want to settle in the place that you are, that's exactly where God is going to allow you to stay. If you want something else, I'm not saying being ungrateful and asking for more. I'm saying you appreciate everything that God's given you and you ask him for more. God will provide more for you because you're being grateful, because you're being gracious, because you have gratitude. God is allowing you to have more. God is like that parent who, when you're real appreciative of the things that you get for Christmas, they give you more, or whatever season it is, or whatever time it is in your life. And you notice that when you are real thankful for something, people like doing stuff for you because they see that it really does touch your life. They see that it really does matter to you. And that's how God is. God knows every hair on our head. He knew us before we were formed. Like, he knows everything about us. So why wouldn't he want to bless us? Especially when you are serving, especially when you have gratitude, especially when you're being obedient. And it's so funny because I'm in the middle of reading this book and it's so weird because I got so unfocused in this journey this year. Like, I wouldn't say the whole year. I did pretty good up until September-ish. Like, I kind of had a little distraction before then, but September just kind of, I don't know what was happening in my life, but the spiritual mental warfare, like, it started a little in like May or June, and then all the way through to like the beginning of November, end of November, early December. It was like spiritual attack after spiritual attack after. I mean, it was so crazy. I felt like I don't know how I'm going to make it through this. And every moment that I thought I was going to break, every moment I thought that I couldn't make it through it, I called on God and he helped me the rest of the way. But if it wasn't for God, I don't know if I would even be here right now. Like, I know it sounds extreme, but there's only so much that people can take. But God can carry everything for us. Like, we might be picking up something, like imagine when you see a little kid trying to pick up something and it's too heavy for them and they're really trying to pick it up a little bit and then they drop it and they look up to the parent and they don't want to really ask for help, but they do. and you go and you pick it up for them and you're helping them or you help them carry it. That's how God is with us. God just, as soon as we call on him, he's like, I got you. Like, you don't have to struggle like that. I got you. You might have to go through some breaking. There might have to be some things that you have to go through to make you stronger, but I will help you. I'm always going to be here with you. And I don't know about you, but that makes me feel so secure, knowing that no matter what it is that I'm going through, even if it's something that's mundane, God is like, I got you. Like, don't even worry about it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like so cool. And it's funny because I was thinking earlier today and I was just like, I was really struggling with something recently. And I was just like, God, I just don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to make it through this because uh, my patience getting tested. Like, I'm really feeling like I don't know how I'm going to make it through this. Like, I feel like I can do this. I feel like I want to do this, but it's difficult. I don't know, like, no one's helping me, with this thing that I'm working on in my business. And I'm just like, I don't know. Not that I need someone else's help when God's there, but I'm just saying that sometimes God sends people in your life that could help in certain areas because he not only can he send, but he can also remove people. So when you feel like you have to do it alone, you don't have to because God appoints certain people for times like that. That's why they always say things like you can't do things alone. You can't do it alone. You can do it with God, and God will provide all your needs. He will provide the people, the place, and the things that you need to be able to achieve whatever it is He put on your heart to do. And so I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I was just like, God, I really need your help. Like, I feel like so stressed out. I don't know. Like, and I wouldn't say stress like worrying, but I was really concerned. And I just felt like it was a lot going on. And God, I know it was only God because the people who helped didn't know that I needed help. They didn't even know that I prayed to God. They didn't even know anything. I just had random people come up and say, Hey, I'm going to help you with this. Hey, do you need me to do this? I'm going to do this for you. And although like I still felt like some pressure, I felt like I could handle it because I had other people in there who were assigned to help me. Like, and all I had to do was call on God. It's not when I could tell you, it's so hard to explain, but it's just like you really feel like you have to go at it alone. Like you are the only one that has to handle this burden by yourself. You're the only one that has to go through all of this pressure alone. And God is saying, no, I have to do a little breaking to get rid of some things that are not good for you in the future. I might have to remove some things that are not good for you in the future or good for your well being right now. I might have to change some things around so that you could be stronger and better and you could learn from this lesson so that you can move forward in your life. But I will always be here with you. I will always make sure that you have everything that you need. And whenever you call me, I will be there. I will be there for you because I care about you. And it's so funny because sometimes we think we don't want to ask for help because we care about what other people think, or we don't want people to think we're weak, or we want to feel like we can handle everything on our own and we just got to handle all this stress, all this pressure, like the pressure of the world. And God is saying, no, you don't. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to go at this alone. This is why I had person A come into your life because they were going to help you with this. This is why I have person B over here because they're going to be able to help you find a better way so that you don't have to feel so stressed. So that you can know that it's not just the burden isn't just on you. You can call on God for help. You don't have to try to prove to anybody that you're that strong. No one goes at it alone. No one can make it through this life alone. That's why God is there because he wants us to call on him. He wants us to lean on him. He wants us to have a relationship with him. And even though it feels like the weakest thing to do, it's the smartest, strongest thing that you could possibly do for yourself because not only are you showing obedience, you're showing diligence. You're showing that you honor and respect God and yourself. You're not just willing to try to prove something to someone else. You are willing to show God that no matter what's happening in your life, you will turn to Him. And it made me think about this scripture. I know I'm not going to say like exactly where it is. I could pause the video and like look it up or something like that, but let's just listen to the message. So so it really made me think about how Jesus was talking to Peter, and he said that, a lot of people say he's, John the Baptist and Jeremiah and all of these other things that they were calling him. But then he said, "Peter, who do you say I am?" And Peter said that he was the Son of God or something like that. And that's not the point. That's why I didn't like say it verbatim. But but then Jesus says, "I am who God says I am." Sometimes we spend so much of our life trying to prove that we're something else for someone else. We're trying to prove to ourselves that we're something that we say we don't deserve these things because we feel like, okay, well, why would God choose me? Why wouldn't He choose you? All the things you went through were not in vain. You didn't go through that horrible relationship just so you could be down and out. You went through it so you can help other women and men. You went through it so that when you see other people around you, you don't just judge them. You went through your situation because maybe that just wasn't for you. And even though that's not for you, does not mean that God doesn't have something better for you. Just because just because you can't see you doesn't mean God doesn't see you. You are who God says you are. And God is always up to something. He's always working things out for you in the background. And so in conclusion, no matter what is happening in your life right now, in the past, in the future, know that God got you, that He is making a way for you. He's going ahead of you, creating a path for you on your journey. He's making sure that you know that He's there for you. It doesn't make you weak to call on His name. It makes you stronger, stronger in your faith and stronger in your relationship with Him. Know that you don't have to go at it alone. He assigns people in your life for you so that you could be stronger, so that you can make it to the next level, so that you can be in your purpose. You are, even though this is an assignment for you, it does not mean that there will not be other people who are appointed in your life for this time, for this place, for this thing, so that your purpose can be fulfilled. Anytime you need help, call on God and He will be there for you with whatever you need. And when you are thinking about what someone else has, if you're comparing your life to them, if you're thinking, well, they got this, I don't, this person, they got that, like, think about what God could do for you. If He could do that for that person, imagine what He could do in your life. And even when it comes to relationships or a job or whatever else it is, you see this person being successful, going this place, and you have way more experience. Imagine what God could do with the experience that you already had in life and in work and business. Imagine the type of person God would have for you if this person has that person. You are not grace for everyone. God is not going to put you in a situation to be with somebody who is going to destroy you. He would never put you in a situation with someone who is not grace for you at all. You think you're missing out on something because this person married this person, or this person's in this relationship, or this person passed up on you to be with somebody else. Let them be with the other person. I know you hear people saying it's like, oh, but I want them, or whatever. Like, I understand how you feel, but know that God has way better for you. You might think this is like the best person ever. Best for who? It can't be best for you because God wouldn't remove it from your life if it was. God would never remove anything from you, a person, place, or thing, that was going to move you forward or propel you or accelerate your life. The only time God ever takes something away from you is when you're going to idealize it. It's going to destroy you. It's going to be a catastrophe, or it's no good for you at all. And that could be emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever state it is. It will be something that will destroy your well-being. It might even be something that distracts you from your purpose. And all the happiness that you have is your happiness, your joy. worth settling or lowering your standards? It's probably not. It definitely isn't. And even though you can't see it right now, know that God's up to something and He has a bigger plan for you. So, even though you feel like you want to worry about whatever it is that you're going through right now, or you want to take on the brunt of everything, or feel like you have to take on this huge burden, put it in God's hands because He's got you. He got this. Like, you're stressing over nothing. You're making a big deal over something that's so small. It's so small, it doesn't even matter. This is just like a drop in the whole, I want to say duality, but I don't know if I should use that word right there because I really wanted to say something else, but it's too late now. So in the whole thing of your life. I had to laugh at myself. Okay. That's nothing compared to what God has for you because He's always up to something.